people are waking up and knowing they can't do the negative things they used to do. Now, none of this is really a new idea. It goes back to the Bible. In the book of Revelation, it talks about the new heaven and the new earth, and about the separating, that some will be left and some will be taken. They said, you'll be working side by side, and one will be taken, one will be left. And this is what it was referring to. But the thing was that John, when he had the vision on the Isle of Pathos 2,000 years ago, he didn't realize that what he was seeing wasn't going to happen for many, many years into the future. And of course, he wrote the book of Revelation in symbolism because he couldn't even begin to grasp what he was actually seeing. So this is what's happening now, but it's a natural thing, and it's going to be very beautiful. But people can feel it. They can feel it in their bodies. They can notice it around them if they're really paying attention. But if you want to stay with the old earth, that is your choice. Everything is a choice.
Well, I think most people want peace, don't they? But it just seems that the old energy was about keeping people in fear. Having the control systems, the hierarchies, that sort of thing. And they, they do seem to be coming down. I mean, with the banking system, some people worried, is it because it's by design and there's certain interest groups who want to bring it down, or is it because of the energy? And I guess there's so much information on the internet, people get so bogged down, they haven't got a clue what it is.
Yeah.
But the question I just wanted to lead on to really from there was that I know that earlier in your career you was a UFO researcher. And I know that the whole UFO thing really plays heavily into the whole awakening thing, because obviously that truth has been hidden from mankind for a good part of a century, isn't it? Really.
Oh yes.
And really, it's like we should be out there in the galaxy, really, with other species, and they seem to be now here in greater numbers, keeping an eye on things.
They've been keeping an eye on things since the beginning of the world. And that it's just that now people are finally becoming aware of it. But, it started in the end of the 1940s. People began to see the first UFOs. But it has been hidden all that time. But I've been a UFO and abduction investigator for over 25 years. I've written 4 books on it. And I have found the answers to anything anybody would want to know about them. And what I have found is positive. I have never found any negativity at all. And I've worked with many, many, many people. Like I said, I've found the answers anybody could want to know on any of this. And it is not negative. The negativity is what people want to put out there to frighten people. Actually, they're a very benevolent group. They've been taking care of us and watching us since the beginning of time. And, of course, they're here shaking their heads. They can't figure out why we keep making so many stupid mistakes. But they are bound by it's a rule, it's the one in Star Trek, the law of non-interference, that this planet and this group, the human race, has been created to at free will. They said, give this beautiful planet a creature with intelligent and free will and see what he'll do with it. And then they have the ruling of non-interference. You cannot interfere in the developing civilization. You can just watch, and that's about all you can do. So they are watching and trying to help, but they do have their rules and regulations too. But the government, since the beginning, has been trying to cover things up.
But things seem to be slowly changing. The UK governments and some of the European governments have been releasing a lot of their files, and I think the big bombshell last week was the one about Winston Churchill and Eisenhower agreed to cover up a sighting from an RAF aircraft, I think, when they saw a UFO when they were returning from a bombing raid, and that's just come out of the UFO files. So they seem to be releasing more and more stuff, and it's no longer sort of saying maybe or allegedly. They're kind of reporting it almost like fact.
Yeah. Well, I know, I think it was you or maybe it was the person arranging my lectures sent me that. So I got to read it, and I said, we've known about that for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
It's just now coming out in the UK because this has been in... See, I speak at all the UFO conferences in the world, and I know all the researchers. And there has been information covered up about these meetings and about the different presidents that were involved. It was all agreed. We can't tell people that they were afraid they were going to panic. And there were other reasons. They were thinking of religious reasons. They can't know there's other beings out there except this goofy human race we have here. But I said, is this the best that God can do, is create us? But they have been covering things up for a long time. And I have heard the stories of the meetings with Eisenhower, with Churchill, and with several other important leaders at that time. There was a lot of things that happened. And on my radio show, I have interviewed some of the people who have the facts about those meetings.
Right, okay.
So when I read that about the one with Winston Churchill, I said, well, we've known this for a long time, but it never was released as a fact. It's always just been alleged.
Mm.
So you think, oh, they're letting it out then.
They're letting it out, but it makes you wonder why. Is it because they know that it's coming, like it's inevitable that it's going to come out anyway, so they might as well do damage limitation and release the stuff now?
Yeah, because I feel they can't keep it hidden anymore. They keep trying because they said, well, we can't tell them it's real now. They'll know we've been lying to them all these years, to the people. And, well, so what? It's going to eventually come out anyway. Then they will say, yeah, why were you lying to us all these years?
Mm.
But it has been definitely a cover-up.
Definitely. I think if they release it slowly, then it's in people's awareness that it could be real. So when they do drop the bombshell that it's real, people just don't run around scared, do they? It's
well, see, in the States, people, I guess, are more used to this idea. They've been exposed to it longer, I guess.
Well, yeah, you've been
they've been releasing these things, I don't know, 40 years, the last 20, 30 years anyway. It's been little pieces been dropped here and there. And so, but the government never came out and said it's true, but it's coming from other sources, other ways that it's getting into the mainstream.
Mm. Have you ever seen a UFO yourself?
No, I haven't. I prefer it that way, because that way I can be an objective observer. I thought if I was involved in the whole thing, it'd be harder for me to be objective, because I get so many people coming to me. I've learned to tell the real cases from the ones that aren't. They're what I call wannabe. I don't know if you know that word or not. Yeah. They want to be, and they want to be involved. Oh, yeah, I've been abducted. I've seen all these UFOs, because they just want to be a part of it, and there's no truth in what they're saying. So I've learned to tell the difference between the ones who just want to get it in there for whatever reason and the ones that are real.
Yeah.
Usually the ones that are real cases don't want anyone to know about it.
What's the most mind-blowing thing you've uncovered, though, when you've regressed somebody that's been abducted or something?
I don't think it's mind-blowing, because I do it all the time.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
To me, it's very natural, and it all fits a pattern, because they all say the same thing. They all give the same information. There's no contradiction. And that always, to me, that in any of my work, if you have that adds validity to it. If they're all saying the same thing without knowing what I've already heard and what I've already investigated. Because I don't tell them, we just see what they have to say. But to me it's very natural, because I understand why it's happening, I understand why they're here, and they're very loving beings, very positive.
So what's the main being that you come across? Is it because the Greys is the one that seems to be bounded around quite a lot, isn't it? The big eyes, the thin body.
Yeah.
Is that the main group that are here? I mean, how many groups do you feel are here?
Oh, there's so many, it's hard to count.
And they all working together? Are they kind of working differently, different agendas?
No, they're all working together. It's rather like Star Trek or Star Wars, that kind of thing. We've had people go on ships where there were so many different types of beings on those ships.